Arr. And we're back. I'm telling y'all. Okay. Now that we have one Periscope that has to do with high intensity sessions, and now we are going to have one that has to do with workout. So, what I have come up with for you guys is kind of a 4-day rotation. And I promise you that these are not the end-all be-all with the movements that I am suggesting. I'm going to use them more as an example, and then I'll explain to you why. So, again, it's a good day when you find a 3-year-old without pants on. Now, if that was my child, my youngest one is 8, so that would be a problem. But I do remember those days, definitely. So the way that the example that I've come up with is a 4-day. So it would be working out Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, work out Thursday, Friday. There's really not going to be a reason for you to work out more than 5 days a week. 5 days a week is really good in like a muscle building phase. So again, in a reverse, because you're going to be working the same muscles multiple times a week to work on really growing them. But when you're in a fat loss, like I said, 4 workouts plus 2 high intensity cardio sessions is more than enough. Your macros and your diet is what's going to cause your fat loss. So again, workouts, always warm up, always, always, always. I don't suggest on leg day that you warm up with something like the bike. I think that a slow incline walk is a good thing. Nothing that's going to be super intense, because your workout is supposed to really exhaust your muscles, not your warm up in and of itself. So I suggest, what's the word? Not static stretching, whatever the other word is, I can't think of it. So dynamic stretching, excuse me. So anything that's like, again, gets muscles moving. So if you're getting ready to work upper body, warm up with, arm circles and push-ups is a good one. There we go. See, you're following me now. Anything that's going to really warm up the muscles and really get them primed for those key movements. The other thing is when you do start to work out, when you start to hit your first couple of movements, I suggest at least 1 to 2 warm-up sets. So if you were going to do squat, and let's say you were going to squat 150 pounds, that was going to be your weight for the day. You should probably do a squat that's, 85 pounds. I got a phone call and apparently the do not disturb on my phone doesn't work. And I put on there that nobody was supposed to be able to call, and I'm not supposed to be able to get texts, or email's not supposed to go off. I'm supposed to get 0 notifications, and apparently iPhone is a liar. So make sure that you have at least 1 to 2 warm-up sets for your first several movements. Once you really get into, like I said, the legs and stuff are primed. That's cool. Again, see, now you have 2 that you get to watch. So I'll start out with days 1 and day 2. As you can see, I've got day 1 as lower body and day 2 as chest and back. Again, these are not, this is not the Holy Grail. This is not something that's set in stone. This is totally optional to you. If you prefer your first day of the week to be upper body, then that's fine. Just switch it. You never want to work the same body part twice, back to back in this, in day 1 or day 2. This is also going to be key even with abs. Do not work your abs every day. Do not work your abs 2 days on, 2 days off. If you're going to add in abs, my suggestion is actually to add in abs on your high intensity cardio day, because that should realistically be like, okay, I'm going to go get 20 minutes of cardio and then I'll do some planks or something like that. Abs need rest, just like biceps and quads and glutes and everything else. So don't overwork your abs. You're not going to make them super tight because you worked them 5 days a week. If anything, you could actually possibly thicken your abdominal wall, which is going to make you look thicker in the middle. This is going to be, this would have to be at the gym. But again, this is not something that's the end all be all. So I can explain it to you on how you can kind of make this work at home. So it's not, even though I have movements that you would either need machines or gym equipment of some kind, I can explain it to you to where you can do similar type movements at home. So if we look at day one, the first thing I have here is squat with a 5x5, which is heavy. Anything that's going to be 5 with either 3 or 5 is going to be heavy weight. Anything that goes from 8 to 12 is going to be a lighter weight. These words are relative. These are all based on your own strength. So squat 5x5 for one person may be 95 pounds, and that's heavy. And for somebody else, that may be 250 pounds. Totally up to you. Just make sure that you're heavy, you have heavier and lighter. So when you're doing this one, which is, these are all leg movements, this one's heavy. Your next major movement is going to be light. You see that? I don't suggest doing heavy on top of heavy. Because then you'll see through it later on in the week. Yes, so it's 5 sets of 5 of squats. And then you'll do 4 sets of 8 is what this suggestion is. So then if you see this muscle group, you're going to also work it again twice here. So here's leg curl, which is going to get your quads 4x12. So that's going to be almost like a burnout type of a rep scheme, and then leg extension. Now this one you could do a glute ham raise. There's anything that's going to be like quad dominant, hamstring dominant, quad dominant, hamstring dominant. So that's basically when you're working the legs. It's kind of like front leg, back leg, front leg, back leg. So my suggestion is to make sure you're doing 2 of each in your lower body day. You don't need to be doing 17 different movements that work your quads or work, one specific muscle group. Like I said, 4, maybe 5 key per day. This shouldn't take you more than an hour. You're not getting any better of a workout by being in the gym for 2.5 hours. I'm just saying. Trust me, I was there that long for a long period of time. So then day 2, I've got working upper body. We've got chest and back. Again, like I had told you, we're going to do bench press for this day, and it's going to be 4x8, so it's going to be a little bit lighter. Now, if you want to know, I did a Periscope a while back that was on how to find out your 1 rep max. That's how you're going to be able to figure out what's going to be heavy and light. If you haven't done something like that, my suggestion is to initially try to figure out how much you can squat, 1 or 2 reps, and then this will give you a better idea of what's going to be heavy for you and what's going to be light for you on these key movements. This, and this are major powerlifting movements. These are going to make major, large muscle groups very strong. So day 2, we're doing chest and back. You're welcome. So this is going to be a lighter, like I said, for your chest. And then we've got lat pull downs, which is wide grip, 4x12. That's going to be a lighter, kind of a burnout on your lats right here. Get rid of the fat where your bra hits. Right there. That and diet, of course, is going to be key. So we've got lat pull down, and then we rotate back into a chest. It's either going to be, so chest flies, it's either got cable or dumbbells, a 4x8. So we're going to be keeping our chest movements all lighter here. One of the issues that a lot of women have is we are naturally weaker in the chest area. So what happens with things like bench is when we don't have the right form, we end up stressing out our shoulders or our elbows. So if you're doing bench press and you start to notice that one of those is bothering you, bring your arm a little bit closer into the body, which is actually going to engage some of the tricep, which is totally okay, especially for women, because we're naturally not as strong on top as men are. So you can bring in those hands just a little bit to come down closer to the body here, and you're going to end up engaging some of the back part. Again, like we've talked about, you want skinny meg arms, triceps, triceps, triceps. So it doesn't hurt to put your triceps in on your bench press. Oh, thank you. So after you've done chest, we're going to do another back exercise. So we've got reverse flies bent over, 4x15. So again, these are where your burnouts are going to be. So what you'll start to notice, the trend, is you're going to have a couple of 1 or 2 key movements at the beginning of your workouts. And towards the end, it's going to be more of a hypertrophy, which is going to be more strength building, not muscle building. And so you'll see that's where the 12 to 15 rep schemes come from. Anything that's 8 and 5 is going to really be So that, you know what, my husband actually was having a problem with his reverse flies. And what I was noticing is that he was actually doing them he was staying near the chest, and he actually needed to drop down. So as a woman, the easiest way would be that your hands kind of start right below the breast here and come straight out, as opposed to allowing them to come like at the chest line. So they need to be slightly lower, and really focus on trying to bring your shoulder blades together. That's going to really pull the back muscles that direction, as opposed to because what happens is we start using our shoulders. If our arms get too high up here, you start using your delts, and you don't want that. You want to be using your back to be pulling that weight backwards. So my suggestion is also to lean over. You don't want to be completely parallel with the ground, but you don't want to be here doing flies. You want to get it here, because gravity is going to naturally pull that weight down. And my husband told me that. He was like, something's bothering me. I'm not doing it. So I kept watching, and I'm like, your hands are coming up too high. So just kind of bring them down. See if I can show you guys if this makes sense. So bringing them here as opposed to up here, and they're going to come straight back, and really squeeze this way, and you can really feel it. I mean, I can feel, you don't have to have a lot of weight for those either. So, like I was telling you guys, so now we had, our first day was lower, and then our second was upper. Then we rest. If anything, good. That's what I'm hoping for. If anything, if you absolutely I just love going to the gym Monday through Friday, Wednesday, go to the gym and do your high intensity and put some abs in there. You don't need to be at the gym for over an hour every single day. It's just not necessary. But if you like going, it's a really good routine to get into. I'm the same way too. I would rather work out every day doing something. And so I will put in a run as my high intensity, and that's the only thing I do that day. So I don't go and lift weight at the same time. I just run. So like I said, if you were going to do this Monday, go take your nap. Oh, I know, because you don't like to get up in the morning. Meredith is a sleeper. Meredith has a child, and she sleeps until almost noon on Saturday. I don't even know how that's possible. So I've got lower body, upper body. I know, crazy, huh? And then rest, or like I said, do your high intensity cardio. And then days 3 and 4 is going to go lower body, upper body. Obviously, this is different. So this is major muscle groups in your legs. Nothing wrong with working them more than once a week. If you have a weak body part, if there's something you want to focus on, I talked about this yesterday. I really wanted to get more muscular on my back. So I started to add in a second day that had back exercises. Not the same movements, but things that were going to work on the muscles in my back twice a week. I was in a muscle building phase though. I was not in a fat loss. That is going to be all macros, belly fat, not cardio. So yes. So it's days 3 and 4. We've got lower body, and then we've got arms again. If you'll notice on day 3, you have squat and deadlift again. You see that? But day 1 had squats heavy and had deadlift light. So now we've swapped them. Your squats are going to be light on day 3, and your deadlift is going to be a heavy rep scheme on day 3. Now, the difference between these two, so when you squat heavy, like I said, let's say your heavy is 150, then this is gonna need to be about 10 to 15% lighter, because you're gonna be doing an extra 3 reps for each one of those. So same thing with this one. This will be 10 to 15% heavier than what you did on the first day. Then again, we've got lunges and stiff leg deadlift. You can also do a single leg deadlift if you'd like to do that too. But again, something that is going to be quad, hammy. See how that works? Again, not these things. Okay, so yes, I can repost yesterday's. So the difference between a deadlift, there's several. There's conventional deadlift, there's sumo deadlift, there's stiff leg deadlift, and then there's going to be single leg deadlift also. Stiff leg is literally your legs are going to be as stiff as possible, and as the bar comes down the leg, you're really not going to be able to get it below the mid shin, because you're pushing your butt out, And as you're pushing your butt out to drop that weight down, your hamstrings are going to get super tight. A conventional deadlift is going to target your glutes and your hamstrings and your lower back. So if you actually Google the two of them, you'll see that there is a very big difference between them. They're both very beneficial because they target slightly different parts. Same with sumo deadlift is going to be in a sumo stance. And you're going to lift from the center between your legs. It's a shorter movement, and it focuses on like the inner thigh, the back of the inner thigh, again, also the hamstrings, the glutes, and your lower back too. You can actually push a lot more, pull a lot more weight in the sumo position because you're engaging more muscles at the same time, and it's also a much shorter range of motion. So anything that is going to work multiple muscle groups in the same area at least twice. And as you can see here, we went light, heavy, and then burnout. This one really could be the same. This could be a 12. It doesn't have to be an 8, especially if you end up doing a single leg because you'll have to use one dumbbell, and then I would make that into a 12. So again, these are key. These are accessory. And that's the way that most of these workouts are going to be written. So then day 4, we've got shoulders and arms. Yes. Actually, when you use the barbell, so it starts on the ground, and your knees should be flared out, and then you should be literally grazing your shin all the way up. If you're going to hit your knees, that means you're actually not sitting back far enough, because your shin should be perpendicular to the floor. Your knees should not be in front of the bar. So when you get ready to sumo, you should be here, not here, as far as your knees are. If this was your knees. So you would need to be here, and that bar needs to come straight up the body and straight down the body. And you'll notice a lot of people wear like deadlifting socks because that rough part of the bar, I mean, I get almost, it looks like rug burn on my shins from rubbing the bar on my legs. So with day 4, we've got shoulders and arms. Your shoulder muscles, your delts, are very small muscles. They burn out very quickly. So again, this is going to be your main, see if you see here, this is your heaviest of the workouts. That's overhead press. So that's really going to push pretty much the entire upper body. This is one that you can do in the squat rack and really piss off the bros. It's awesome because I stand there and I've got like the bar and then 5 pounds on each side. When I used to go to the gym, now I do it myself and nobody cares. So again, lat raise is going to be with dumbbells. And then overhead press can also be with dumbbells. So again, if somebody works out at home, there's definitely ways that you can use these same things and not have a whole machine contraption. Tricep push down. If you don't have a machine, you can do tricep push-ups, which is again kind of like I was showing you guys with the bench press. You just really keep your arms in tight when you're doing your push-up. Up and down is going to work all the back part of the arm. So because we're doing shoulders and arms, that's actually going to be 3 different muscles. This is going to be your delts, and then you've got bicep and tricep. So that's why there's extra movements here. So we've got shoulders, triceps, biceps, triceps, biceps, as you can see. So we're basically doing 2 movements per body part on each day. So if you're, whether you're working legs or you're working arms, you're working chest, you're working back, each one of these is going to have 2 to 3 movements for each muscle group. That's all you need. You don't need more than that. Like I said, you don't need to be doing 8 different things. Anytime you see these guys that are doing like 15 different bicep curls, what? Why? It's working the same muscle. So burnout. Again, smaller muscles are going to require less weight. If you can really focus on your contraction and stuff like this, you're going to get crazy burn. You do not need to be over there trying to push some kind of crazy 35-pound dumbbells. If you're curling like this, lighten it up. You're not working anything except your ego at that point. So there was I can't remember who the guy was, one of the Olympic bodybuilder, amazing guy, and somebody caught him in the gym, and he never worked out with more than like, I think the 35-pound dumbbells is what it was, and somebody came over and said something to him because the guy's freaking huge, and he said, if you can focus on your muscle contraction, you don't have to be throwing those 100-pound dumbbells around like those guys where you hear them all grunting and then chunking that huge-ass thing, which of course I walk over to him and I'm like, you could just, one of those is how much I weigh. Totally kidding. But yeah, so there's really no need for these guys that are doing that, because if you're really focusing on that muscle contraction, then you're going to get a good burn. Most people, what happens is they think, oh, I did 15 pounds last week, I got to move up to 17 and a half this week. And as they continue to go up in weight, their form ends up falling apart. And so they actually aren't getting the workout that they think they are. Sure, they're going to still get a good sweat. They're going to still feel a burn. They might even feel some soreness. But they're not really focusing. If you can really take time with some of these movements, hammer curl is a great one to do alternating. So yes, what you're going to do is you're going to do all of these, and then you're going to move on to your next one. That was the other thing. That's a good question. So any of these things where there's a heavy, don't give yourself a time limit on going to your next set. The ones that are lighter, I wouldn't have more than about a 60-second rest, and then I would start over again. But these key movements right here, this one, if you are deadlifting 200 pounds 5 times, allow yourself to rest for 90 seconds to 120 seconds. There's nothing wrong with a 2-minute rest break. You don't want to sit and just absolutely do nothing and make your workout take 2 hours like some of the guys that are on their cell phones. But at the same time, don't try to rush through it, because you really want your muscles to be primed for each one of those movements. You want to get the most out of your workout. You don't want to just be kind of flying through it because, well, I'm going to be at the gym and I only have an hour or whatever. If you make it through 2/3 of this, but you gave each one of these first 4 movements or 5 movements your all, you got a great workout. Nothing says your workout is, the benefits of your workouts based on the amount that you sweat. You're going to actually benefit much more if you take it slow and you really contract those muscles, because that's what's going to tear those muscles down, which then through your rest and recovery over the next 24 hours is going to start to repair those muscle fibers, which is a good thing. And that's what ends up causing muscle growth. These shouldn't take more than an hour, including your 5 to 10 minute warm up. When I was going to the gym, I wasn't at the gym longer than about an hour. So, again, if you're resting, 60 seconds between these, that's 4 minutes. That's going to be, 8 minutes in between. So I'd say, this one takes 10, this one takes 6 to 8. This one might take you the longest because of how much time you need to wait. Of course, you're also going to have to deal with racking and unracking your weights. But about an hour, hour and 10 minutes really should be about it for each one of those. So between that and then your 2 high intensity cardio sessions a week, you should be good to go. I don't suggest more than 3 high intensity sessions, because you really want to be able to use cardio to your advantage if you get to a point where your fat loss has stalled and your calorie intake has already been taken fairly low. You need something that's going to kind of kickstart you back into a fat loss mode, and adding in 1 more cardio session a week would be something that would be very beneficial. If you start your fat loss plan, 50 minutes is more than enough. You should be able to get in there and get out. So yeah, if you start a fat loss plan and you're doing cardio 4 or 5 days a week, where do you have to go from there? You always want to be able to have an extra step at your disposal to your advantage, so that you can continue to lean out. Yes. So if you choose to do both, or you have time to do both, you need to lift first and then do your high intensity. Like I said, your high intensity is going to be kind of a burnout type of a thing. So if you're going to work out first, you want to really have fresh muscles to have good form and be able to really focus. Sorry, my birds are getting loud. And then you can kind of use your high intensity session after that as a burnout. If you wanted to do them, but you can't do them back to back, then you need to wait about 6 hours between the 2. Should you be sore when? Oh, after a workout? If you're not careful and you're sore for like 3, 4, 5 days, that means you most likely overdid it. A lot of people tend to overdo it, especially when they start out. They think they have to, and unfortunately, the first 1 or 2 times that you work out a muscle, you can't. I mean, right? You walk into the gym the very first time and you're super fresh. And so it's like, man, I can crank out these 15-pound dumbbells, and then I can do 25 push-ups, and then I can go over here and I can do 35 squats, and then I can do this weighted, and then you wake up the next day and, oh my God, I can't walk. Well, I mean, you overdid it. And overdoing it on a regular basis is actually not going to benefit you in any way. No. So for somebody who's 300 pounds, again, fat loss is caused by your diet. Exercise is designed to build strength and muscle. Your diet is what's going to be key to losing weight. Yes, you can use, like I said, you can use cardio to your advantage. And if you've been completely sedentary, using some cardio will help. But just like any, it doesn't matter if you weigh 300 pounds or you weigh 100 pounds. The least amount of cardio possible to begin with is going to be the best. Because if you are 300 and you get your macros figured to where you're in a fat loss, you're going to probably actually lose weight faster than someone who only has 10 to 15 pounds to go anyway. So just by changing up your diet, you're going to start fat loss. And then you're going to hit a plateau just like anybody else does. It doesn't matter how much weight you have to lose. You want to be able to then use those cardio sessions to rev that back up again. Like I said, your metabolism begins to adapt, and so it gets harder to lose weight the lower your intake goes. And so now we want to try to use some exercise to our advantage, not using that, like I said, from day one to make fat loss fast. True fat loss is going to take longer. If you're dropping large amounts of weight very quickly, most likely you're also losing muscle mass at the same time. Somebody, like I said, who is 300 pounds probably is carrying quite a bit more muscle mass than they think that they are. So they will lose some, which is totally fine. Even somebody who's small, you're going to lose some amount of muscle mass. The last time I had my body fat analyzed, I think I had lost 2 pounds of muscle at the same time, but I was okay with that because I was losing fat also, and I knew that I was still working out and that I was still eating healthy and that I wasn't in some horribly severe calorie deficit. So it happens. You know, we can't just lose fat. We are going to lose a certain amount of muscle at the same time. So what we're trying to do is, by eating as much as possible while we're losing fat, retain as much lean muscle mass as possible. So hope that helped you guys out, and I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Yay! I know it can be kind of depressing, but at the same time, even though it sucks, it's a good thing to know, because you know where you're starting from. Just getting on a scale and saying, oh, I weigh 150 pounds. 150 pounds of what? How much is bone? How much is muscle? How much is fat? You know, how much is lean body mass? How much does your brain weigh, and your lungs and your heart? You know, I mean, just getting on the scale every day is kind of a joke. So to find out where you're starting from, if the number is higher than you thought it was, it's okay. You have a great starting point. So just remember that no matter what they tell you that number is, you're at an advantage already, because now you know where to work from and to go down. So, yay! I'm so excited. So yes, hope you guys have a fantastic afternoon. If you guys need my help with anything, my email address is poppylockscakes@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram @poppy_locks. And I will talk to you guys soon.